Welcome back to the show. 1 in 100 children are born with a heart defect. BC Children's Hospital does their best to help these children to survive and thrive with the technologies that they have. But sometimes there comes a case where even doctors and caregivers are faced with a major challenge. Hans Rana is one of these precious children. He's in studio with us today with his father, Jitesh Rana, to talk about this rare heart condition that he has and how we as a community can help. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Hans, how old are you?
7.
You're 7 years old, and you know that you were born with this rare condition? Yeah? How does it make you feel?
Kind of scared.
Kind of scared? Does it make you tired sometimes?
No.
No?
Well, I used to.
Used to make you tired, not as much anymore. So Jitesh, let's tell us about what this condition is all about.
Hans has a condition called hypoplastic right ventricle. Right side of his heart is just too small, and it can't pump enough blood to the lungs to get oxygen. So he turns blue, and he doesn't get enough oxygen to all his vital organs because of his condition.
Because the oxygen is not being carried throughout his body?
It's not enough blood is getting to the lungs to get oxygen to be carried through the body.
Right. And so you found out about this when he was just a few hours old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here's your first child, you're all excited, right? Your friends and family are in the hospital, and then suddenly you're told that your child is having difficulty breathing.
Yeah.
So tell us what that was like.
Sorry, this is the toughest part for me to ever go through during an interview. It was probably one of the most challenging, stressful moments in my life to be told that my child has a condition, let alone a life-threatening condition. You're extremely excited and happy for all these wonderful things that's going to happen in the future because you have a child.
You're hopeful.
You're hopeful, yeah. And then to find out that your child may not make it through the next few days because of a condition. And a condition that you don't know yet. You don't know what's going on. The doctors don't know yet because no one knows.
Just born,
he was just born. So the caregivers at BC Children's and at Women's quickly rushed him in, and they started doing some tests, and they started eliminating what it could be, and then to find out that it was his heart. And heart's huge. When anytime anyone hears something of a heart condition, we all don't know what's going to happen because it is a major organ in the body. So his first, in the first day, once they found out it was his heart condition, the next morning they rushed him into an emergency surgery where he had a balloon angio, where they put a balloon into one of his arteries to open up his valve. It kind of worked, but it didn't.
So to open up the valve, just to
open
pump
up the
blood.
valve to get the blood to pump through to his lungs, and it just wasn't an enough of a repair. So a few days later, they took him in to another surgery where they went through his back and they put in a 5mm Gore-Tex shunt. So they basically connected the aorta to the pulmonary branch, so he could have more blood pumping through and into his lungs. That worked.
How old was he at this time?
4 days.
Oh,
He was born on a Monday. We went in on a Sunday night. He was born Monday. Friday was his BT shunt. We were in the hospital. I think it was 21 days. I mean, it's a while ago, and time just slows down when these things are happening to people. So we're in there. I think it was 2 weeks to 3
Before you were able to take him home?
Before we were even allowed to leave the hospital.
So when did he come home?
He came home in 21
days.
We had already been discharged. My wife, we'd already gone home, so we lived in the hospital. We lived in ICU. We lived in the rooms, sleeping on the floor, and all the other wonderful things that parents have to do to be near their child.
And I can see that Hans is feeling tired right now.
Are you tired? So
he's had quite a few surgeries since then, correct?
Yeah, so we came home, and life was our norm. which isn't quite normal because our norm is different, but as normal as we can make it. And he went through a lot of the regular things that some kids would go through, but every time something came up, it was compounded because of the heart. He ended up getting colitis, which was a little bit more complicated than it would have been because of his heart condition. He ended up having a UTI, which was more stressful, and we were worried about the infection getting into his bloodstream because he was going for surgery a month after that. So at 8 months old, we went back to the hospital where he had his first open heart surgery.
At 8 months old.
At 8 months old. And
I know
it was
you don't
amazing.
remember that. That was a very long time ago. Yeah.
You see pictures, right? Yeah? So at 8 months, they did a full open heart surgery where they disconnected the blood that flows from above the heart, from the heart to go straight to the lungs. So his upper body blood doesn't pump to the lungs. At the same time, they had to remove one of the walls between the two atriums just in case he was exercising too much and he had excess blood flow, he wouldn't have too much pressure.
So now, sorry, he's had 2 open heart surgeries
That
now.
was the first, and now he's had a second one. He had a second
one.
open heart surgery January of last year.
So just a couple of, last year.
Last year, so a
Okay.
year and a half ago, where they went back in, and that one was a little bit.
Do you remember that one, Hans? Do you remember going to the hospital?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. How'd you feel when you went to the hospital? Drink your water before you talk.
Scared.
You were scared?
Went.
Before we went.
And I really want to go back there, but
You want to go back?
without anything to do.
Just to say hello to all your friends there
No, I just want to sit in the room.
and just watch everybody and
Just check out the room.
Yeah.
check out the nurses?
What were you afraid of?
I thought I was going to be awake, and they had to take out my heart.
Aw.
Like out.
See, I mean, the fact that he's saying this, I mean, it's quite clear that it's a very scary thing, not just for him, for you as a family. I mean, you have a career, you have a family, you have a life. You know, let's talk about that disruption. I mean, how did you get through that?
I was luckily self-employed. If I was employed, I think I'd be unemployed. I think we had about 150 appointments in the first year. Either stay in hospital,
His doctor's appointments and whatnot.
nurses
And
coming
so to
over.
navigate through that and be able to, make space for it, I guess you need to have be your own boss and be a bit more flexible that way.
Yeah, I don't know how other families do it. We're one of the lucky ones. I mean, I say this to a lot of people, and a lot of people look at me and they go, "Your son has a heart condition," and you're saying you're lucky. We are lucky. We're lucky we have the hospital. We're lucky that he's healthy. We're lucky that the community helps and gives. If it wasn't for all of what we do have in this province and here, he wouldn't be with us.
So let's talk about the giving. I mean, I understand that Hans, you've been, you have this new title called Child Champion, and you were given that by BC Children's Hospital. Yeah. So what does that mean exactly?
It means to me is I have to raise lots and lots of money.
You have to raise lots and lots of money and
help
awareness
other kids.
to help other kids. So I mean, this is a big thing, Jitesh, to be, out of all the kids, really, he was chosen as
An honor.
It is,
It's,
yeah.
it's one of the greatest honors we can have to have my child be the child champion, to be the ambassador, to be
To be a role model for
the
other
role
children
model.
going
Yeah.
through something like this.
to be the face of the hospital for the whole year.
What's the success of this campaign? Like how?
We had a great
How
year.
important is it?
We had a great year at Miracle Weekend, which was at the end of May. They raised $18.8 million,
Wow, amazing.
which I think exceeded our overall goal as the hospital or as the foundation was hoping for.
Wow.
So it was good. I'm happy. I'm proud of my son for being there and sharing
And
his
being
story
the champion,
and being the
sharing
champion.
his story. Thank you so much, Hans, for coming here and sharing your story.
What do you
Yeah.
say?
Thanks.
Thank you, Jitesh.
Thank you very much.